Hey guys, Rad Cow Disease here, and in this video I'll be giving you a brief rundown on how to heal as a Resto Shaman. So first of all, you'll always want to have your Earth Living Weapon and Water Shield active. The next thing is you'll want to put your Earth Shield on one of the tanks and recast it anytime it falls off. Pay attention to Tidal Waves, and what this is anytime you cast Riptide, you'll gain 2 stacks of Tidal Waves. This reduces the cast time of Healing Wave and Greater Healing Wave, and increases the crit chance of Healing Surge. The other thing is that Riptide increases the effectiveness of Chain Heal by 25% if it's your initial target. So if I cast Riptide on myself and then Chain Heal on myself, it's a 25% stronger Chain Heal as a result of that. Alright, the next thing is if you're doing a single target or spread out healing rotation, you want to cast Riptide and then any 2 single target spells. Just repeat that as necessary. I recommend casting Riptide on a different target each time because then you can have Riptide ticking on multiple raid members at once. If the raid is stacked up, you'll want to use Unleash Elements, cast Healing Rain, cast Riptide, and then you can simply spam Chain Heal on the target affected by a Riptide. There's a lot of possible talents and glyphs to use, but the ones that I recommend are the ones you see here. The ones that you'll probably change out a lot are Conductivity and Rushing Streams, and it varies by the encounter. So for example, Conductivity is very good for fights that are low movement and where you can stack. Rushing Streams is very good on high movement fights or fights where you're spread out. For your glyphs, these 3 are very good. Telluric Currents is especially one that I would recommend, not only because of the mana that it restores, but also the way that it interacts with Conductivity is nice, so you can be regenerating mana and increasing the duration of Healing Rain at the same time, so that's very, very nice. It's important to be aware of your passives. There's a couple that you need to look at. There's Ancestral Awakening, and what this means is that critical heals that are single target cause the most injured part of your raid member to be healed for 30% of the amount healed. So that's brownie points for crit. Another one is Purification. This causes a buff called Ancestral Vigor, and that increases the maximum health of the player by up to 10% of their maximum health. Then there's Resurgence, and it causes your critical heals to regenerate mana. So more brownie points for crit. And then we have your Mastery, which is Deep Healing. I would not recommend a stat build with more than 70% Mastery because it becomes difficult to effectively utilize it. You have a number of other healing cooldowns. There's Healing Stream Totem. You can generally use that on cooldown. Sometimes you'll want to delay it a few seconds if you're anticipating a damage spike. You also have Healing Tide Totem and Ascendance, which are your 2 major healing cooldowns. I would not recommend stacking them unless it's an emergency situation. Healing Tide Totem does pulsing healing every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. And this is a very good choice. If you have to move, you can simply place it and then run wherever you want to go. Ascendance causes all healing done to be duplicated and distributed evenly. This is really great when combined with Spirit Walker's Grace, because then you can be casting, healing, and then doing, of course, getting the duplicated healing from Ascendance, which is really, really strong. There's also Spirit Link Totem, and you can use this to redistribute players' health. You can use it to reduce damage taken, and one of my favorite uses is for emergency situations because, for example, if you're stacked with the tank and they have a lot of incoming damage, you can use this to prevent them from dying because it will distribute the damage evenly throughout the raid. There's also Mana Tide Totem, and you want to use this certainly when you're low on mana, but also you want to keep in mind that the other healers are affected by this as well, so sometimes you might want to use it earlier or later. Lastly, if we take a look at my current build, I'll give you a brief explanation of why I chose to make it the way I did. The reason for the high haste value is because at a haste value of 10,636, you gain a second additional tick of Riptide, which is amazing. And also, haste is a very good stat for healing the raid up quickly. Crit is very good because of its interaction with your various passives. So we already talked about Ancestral Awakening. So your critical heals, do healing to most injured party raid members, and also Resurgence. So you're regenerating mana when you have those critical heals. And by having a high crit value, this allows you to sacrifice some spirit. So in a nutshell, the higher the crit chance you have, the lower you can let your spirit be without running out of mana quickly. And lastly, the mastery value I've chosen is because it's very hard to make a perfect utilization of high mastery values because it would require the raid to be at low health, and that's something you almost never want to happen because then you get into one-shot territory. So 50% is usually a good value, but probably no higher than 70%. Those are all the basics. There's definitely a lot more tips and tricks. I hope this has been helpful, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a good one.